Welcome, dear students, to another session of grammar. Today we are going to study Change the Voice. I am Yogita Joshi, lecturer in English, Government Senior Secondary Smart School, Panibaga, District Mansa. Dear students, first of all, we'll start with some examples. Look at first example. You draw beautiful sketches. In this sentence, you is subject and that is leading the complete sentence. Now look at the second sentence. Beautiful sketches are drawn by you. In this sentence, subject is at the end and it is in the passive form, while the object, that is beautiful sketches, takes the lead. So in the first case, subject is active. In the second case, subject is being acted upon. So changes in helping verb and exchange of positions of subject and object all are important aspects of change in voice. We have a few changes while we are changing the voice. In the active form, we have all these pronouns, but when they take the passive form, they change it. A few pronouns remain in the same form. Let's see. I is I when active, but in the passive form it is me. She changes to her. He changes to him. We changes to us. They changes to them. You changes to no change, you. Name changes to, again no change, it remains the same. It changes to, no change, it remains it. Are you confused? If you do not understand with the help of these slides, I will explain everything for you on the blackboard. Let's start. The first thing is that we have a language. And a language is actually a means of communication. What do we do with the communication? We share ideas, we share thoughts, and we share emotions and feelings also. But what kind of communication is possible with the language? Yes, two kind of communication are there, oral communication and written communication. ਪਿਆਰੇ ਵਿਦਿਆਰਥੀਓ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ। ਅੱਜ ਮੈਂ ਚੇਂਜ ਦਾ ਵੌਇਸ ਦਾ ਲੈਸਨ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਂਝਾ ਕਰਨ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹਾਂ। ਇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਜੋ ਮੈਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਹੈ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ। ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਸੰਚਾਰ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਮਾਧਿਅਮ ਹੈ। ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਦੁਆਰਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ, ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਦੁਆਰਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਭਾਵਨਾ ਜਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਆਦਾਨ ਪ੍ਰਦਾਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਇਹ ਮੌਖਿਕ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਲਿਖਿਤ ਰੂਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਦੋਨੋਂ ਹੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਕਮਿਊਨੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇਸਤੇਮਾਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, that is the voice. Now this voice can be active voice or this can be passive voice. ਤਾਂ voice ਦੇ ਵੀ ਦੋ ਕਿਸਮ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਨ, ਇੱਕ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ active voice, ਇੱਕ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ passive voice. Dear students, to completely understand this concept, you must have a thorough knowledge of tense because all the changes will be based on tenses. Now we can understand this concept with the help of examples. Dear students, throughout the session we'll have a lot of examples and you will learn this thing easily. See, in this sentence, we have she writes stories, in which she is subject, writes is verb, and object is stories. So in this way it has basic sentence structure, that is SVO. Subject मतलब कर्ता, verb मतलब क्रिया, object मतलब सही कर्म। ਜਦੋਂ ਕਰਤਾ ਕਿਰਿਆ ਕਰਮ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਥਾਨ ਤੇ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਸਧਾਰਨ ਸਰਲ ਵਾਕ ਦੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਪਏ ਹੋਣ ਉਦੋਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਐਕਟਿਵ ਵੌਇਸ। she subject, writes verb, stories object. Now we change the positions of subject and object. After interchanging the positions, at first place we'll get stories, and with the stories we will use helping verb. After using the helping verb, third form of verb is used in passive voice. Always keep in mind, in passive voice we always have third form of the verb, and we are adding a preposition here to show the passive existence of the subject, that is her. In this way it has become a passive sentence. In passive sentence, subject is passive at the end, but object is playing the role of a subject. So this is passive in which subject is acted upon. It is not active, it is acted upon. What is active? Object is active. See the next sentence. We won the match. Let us solve it. Okay, first of all tell me, what is we here? We. Right, it is subject. What is one? Very good. Verb. What is the match? It is object. Now, when you want to change the voice from active to passive, first of all you should identify subject and object, then interchange the positions, and for interchanging these positions we have to do a few more changes. First of all, write the match in the beginning. So in the passive voice we'll write the match. Now here the form of verb is second. So second verb says that it is past indefinite. So here we use the helping verb was. The third form of one is also one. Then the preposition by, and I pronoun changes to us. Very good. Most of you know all these things. The match was won by us. It is the passive voice. I hope all the examples explained on the blackboard clarified the concept of change of voice. Now, on the basis of all those examples, let's look at the rules for change of voice. Important rules are here. In the active form, the verb is controlled by the subject. ਪਿਆਰੇ ਬੱਚਿਓ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਉਦਾਹਰਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੇਖਿਆ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਐਕਟਿਵ ਵੌਇਸ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਵਰਬ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕਿਸ ਦਾ ਕਾਬੂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ? ਸਬਜੈਕਟ ਯਾਨੀ ਕਿ ਕਰਤਾ ਦਾ। ਇਨ ਪੈਸਿਵ ਵੌਇਸ ਦ ਵਰਬ ਇਜ਼ ਕੰਟਰੋਲਡ ਬਾਈ ਦ ਆਬਜੈਕਟ। ਪੈਸਿਵ ਵੌਇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਰਬ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕਿਸ ਦਾ ਅਧਿਕਾਰ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ? ਆਬਜੈਕਟ ਯਾਨੀ ਕਿ ਕਰਮ ਦਾ। The object in the active voice becomes the subject in the passive voice, as we have discussed on the blackboard, that they interchange their positions. Only the past participle of the main verb is used in the passive voice. As we have discussed, in the passive voice, every time we use the third form of the verb. ਤਾਂ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਬੱਚਿਓ, ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਚੇਂਜ ਦਾ ਵੌਇਸ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਐਕਟਿਵ ਫਾਰਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਰਬ ਦਾ ਅਧਿਕਾਰ, ਵਰਬ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਅਧਿਕਾਰ ਸਬਜੈਕਟ ਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਪੈਸਿਵ ਫਾਰਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਰਬ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਅਧਿਕਾਰ ਆਬਜੈਕਟ ਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਔਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਹੀ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਐਕਟਿਵ ਤੋਂ ਪੈਸਿਵ ਜਾਂ ਪੈਸਿਵ ਤੋਂ ਐਕਟਿਵ ਬਣਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਬਜੈਕਟ ਤੇ ਆਬਜੈਕਟ ਦੀ ਜੋ ਸਥਿਤੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਆਪਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਫੇਰ ਬਦਲ ਕਰ ਦੇਵਾਂਗੇ। ਅਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੈਸਿਵ ਵੌਇਸ ਬਣਾਓਗੇ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਰਬ ਦੀ ਤੀਸਰੀ ਫਾਰਮ ਹੀ ਇਸਤੇਮਾਲ ਹੋਏਗੀ। ਓਕੇ, in active voice the verb agrees with the subject. It means the subject is active. In passive voice the verb agrees with the object. It means the subjective passive. So verb is like an opportunistic person. Whosoever is leading, verb is making a combination with that. Let's move on. Now, the voice of a verb tells whether the subject of a sentence performs or receives the action. Okay? Let us look at the examples. I do the work. It means that the doer of the action is active. I do the work ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਕਰਮ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਯਾਨੀ ਕਿ ਕਰਤਾ ਉਹ ਹੀ ਐਕਟਿਵ ਹੈ ਯਾਨੀ ਕਿ ਸਬਜੈਕਟ। It means that the subject is active, so it is in the active form. Another example, Harry won the prize. Here, Harry is the doer of the action and Harry is in the lead. So दूसरे वाक्य ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ Harry won the prize ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ Harry ਹੀ ਕਰਤਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਕਰਤਾ ਹੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈ, ਸੋ ਇਹ ਐਕਟਿਵ ਵੌਇਸ ਹੈ। Sonam sang a song. Here Sonam is taking the action and Sonam is in lead, so it is active voice. As we have discussed earlier, in the active voice subject is doing the action, but in the passive voice the subject is being acted upon. Let's look at the structure of passive voice. In a passive voice, the sentence starts with object and then we give the required be verb to it. Again, we add verb as past participle, then by is added and subject is at the end. For example, the work is done by me. Okay, recognize it, whether is it active or passive. The work is done by me, so the work is object. Here it is playing the role of subject and is the be verb. Done is verb as past participle and by is followed by the passive form of I. The work is done by me. Me is the passive form of I. It means the doer of the action is not active. It is passive. So this is the difference between active voice and passive voice. Let's take another example. The bridge is being repaired. The bridge is being repaired. Identify whether it is active or passive. It is passive because once again object plus is plus being plus third form of the verb. Here students sometimes find it difficult to identify because they can't see by plus subject at the end. Dear students, when the subject is unimportant or it is obvious or we feel that it is not required to be expressed, So we stop the sentence here. As we had done in the earlier example, the city was burnt. The same thing applies here. The bridge is being repaired. Next, the prizes have been announced. Active or passive? Yes, it is passive because the prizes are not the doer of the action. So they are in the lead. Object is in the lead, so it is a passive form. The thief was caught. Once again, passive. So all these sentences tell us that when the object is active, it is passive form. When subjective active, it is active form. Let us explore little more. Now I will explain according to the tense. Before seeing the sentence structures, directly move to the examples. We have two columns, active voice and passive voice. Look at the first example. Arjun sees a deer. Now here Arjun is subject, sees is verb, a deer is object. Very good. Now how will we start the passive voice? Yes, with object, that is a deer. Then is will be added as be verb. Then third form of the verb, here seen. Then by plus subject at the end. As it is a name, we do not change it. Arjun sees a deer. A deer is seen by Arjun. Next, Parth plays violin. Solve with me. Parth subject, plays verb, violin object. So in the passive voice, violin will take the lead. Violin is played by Parth. Very good. Now there's a little twist in the next sentence. I do not like kites. Here we already have a helping verb. Then we have to make a change in the passive voice. What change? Instead of using do or does, in the passive voice, is, am or are is used before not. I do not like kites. Kites are not liked by me. Easy. Next sentence. Now you can solve it easily. He does not eat apples. He is the subject. Apples is the object. So we bring apples in the beginning. Apples are plural, so we will use are. Apples are not. Third form, eaten by. He becomes him at the end of the sentence. Apples are not eaten by him. Now look at the next sentence. It is an interrogative one. So in the interrogative sentences, do or does will be seen in the beginning. And we will replace do or does with is, am or are according to the situation. Do you like tea? Subject is you, object is tea. So we have to activate tea. Is tea, the third form of take is taken by you. And you does not change its form in the passive form. Okay? Now look at the structure. Subject plus first form of verb. And you can see in Arjun sees a deer, with the first form of the verb we use s or es. Then the object. And in the negative sentence, subject plus do or does is followed by not and first form of the verb, and at the end we add object. And in the interrogative sentence in active voice, do or does is in the beginning and subject is followed by this do or does. Then we add not, first form of verb and object, and the most important thing is sign of interrogation. In the passive form, in all the sentences, objects are taking the lead and they are followed by is, am or are and third form of the verb, then by plus subject in the passive form. Good. Let's move on. Now look at the examples. Active voice. Arjun saw a deer. Here, once again, a few changes are the same. For example, subject Arjun will go at the end of the sentence and a deer will come in the beginning of the sentence. But the difference is, in the earlier case, sees was replaced by is seen, but here saw will be replaced by was seen. So if you get the second form of the verb, you will use was or verb and the third form of the verb. In this case, the passive voice becomes a deer was seen by Arjun. Very good. Next sentence. Parth played violin. So it becomes violin was played by Parth. Very simple. Now look at the negative sentence. I did not like kites. So kites is the object. It will take lead. Kites were not liked by me. So did will be replaced by was or were according to the object in the lead. Next, he did not eat apples. He is subject, apples is object. Let's interchange their positions. So apples, and we will replace did by were. Apples were not, third form of verb, eaten by him. Did you take tea? So once again we will replace did with was, because tea is singular and was is compatible with tea. Was tea taken by you. I hope you have understood all the examples. So in past indefinite tense, subject plus second form of the verb plus object is there when it is in the active voice. And when there is negative sentence in the active voice, subject plus did not and first form of verb plus object. Dear students, please keep in mind, while the form of verb is in the affirmative sentence, it is always second in past indefinite. But when we add did not, the form of the verb changes from second to first. Okay? Now move on to interrogative. Did plus subject, then first form of the verb and object. And the most important part is sign of interrogation. Similarly, did plus subject plus not, first form of the verb plus object. So all these sentence structures belong to active voice. Now if we look at the passive voice, object will take the lead in all the sentences, and these will be followed by third form by and subject. In case of negative sentence, we will add not with was or were. In case of passive interrogative sentences, was or were will be in lead, followed by object plus third form of the verb plus by plus subject in the passive form at the end, followed by a question mark. I hope you understood everything about the present indefinite tense and past indefinite tense in case of change of voice. Let's move on to future indefinite sentence. First, Arjun will see a deer. Now in this case, we will change will to will be. So here it becomes a deer will be seen by Arjun. Next, Parth will play violin. Yes, violin will be played by Parth. I shall not like kites. I is subject, kites is object. Kites will not be liked by me. Good. He will not eat apples. Yes, apples will not be eaten by him. Very easy. Now the last example is, will you take tea? Now will remain in the beginning and the subject you will change its position with tea. Will tea be taken by you? So now you can easily understand the sentence structure, that in the active voice, subject is followed by will or shall. In case of negative, we add not to will or shall. And with will or shall, we always use the first form of the verb, and at last we add the object. In case of interrogative sentence, will or shall will be in the beginning followed by subject. And if you want to make a negative question, not will be added to the subject. In all the cases, first form of the verb plus object, and it will be followed by question mark. Whether it is simple question, whether it is a negative question. ਤਾਂ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਬੱਚਿਓ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤਿੰਨੋਂ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਇਨਡੈਫੀਨਿਟ ਟੈਂਸਿਸ ਦੇ ਆਧਾਰ ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਚੇਂਜ ਦ ਵੌਇਸ ਸਮਝਿਆ ਹੈ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆਸ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਲਿਖ ਵੀ ਲਿਆ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ। Dear students, everything is available in your grammar book, and all these examples and sentence structures are available in the grammar book. So you can make this chart. This is a chart for all the indefinite tenses. Just revise the things that we have done in this session. Dear students, homework time. This is exercise number 2 from your grammar book. On the basis of the things that we have discussed, you can solve this exercise as your homework. In the next episode, I will come with the solutions of all these sentences. Till then, keep on revising. This is the end of part 1. Here's the good thought for you. Sweet are the juices of adversity. When the times are not good, we always get good out of it by hard work and patience. Thank you so much for being with me.